Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the final session of CS Track for Epsilon 2024. Myself, Drushti Bharambe, the Computer Society Head at IEEE SISGST.
And it's a pleasure to be your host myself, Krishna Yadav, PR and Admin Head. We are thrilled to be your host for today's panel discussion. Over the past few days, we have explored a wealth of knowledge through various talks and workshops. And today we have something equally exciting for you, a panel discussion on an emerging technology that is transforming the digital landscape.
As a part of Epsilon 2024, which is themed Synergy of Realities, we are honored to bring you a distinguished panel of experts who will share their insights on the advancements of AR/VR in digital twins. After the discussion, we'll open the floor to an interactive Q&A session, giving you a chance to ask your questions directly to our esteemed panelists.
Without further ado, let's introduce our panel for today. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, architect Raj Vaswani. Mr. Vaswani is an accomplished architect and entrepreneur with over 7.5 years of experience in design, BIM building information modeling, and digital innovation. He has led digital transformation projects for major industry players and has been instrumental in integrating AI, automation, and ERP systems to enhance efficiency in construction projects. Mr. Raj's experience includes creating standard operating procedure SOPs for BIM implementation, and he has designed over 30 courses related to design and BIM. We are delighted to have him moderating this session.
And now let's meet our esteemed speakers for today. Firstly, we have Mr. Florian Humo. Mr. Humo is a co-founder of Propex, a company pioneering the development of 3D digital twins for cities using AI and metaverse technologies. His work focuses on merging virtual and physical worlds, enabling collaboration with city planners to deliver large-scale projects. Propex is a revolutionizing real estate by integrating it with platforms like Fortnite, making real estate experience more immersive and interactive.
I'd like to introduce our second speaker, Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel is a PhD researcher specializing in robotics, machine learning, and digital twins technology. His research focuses on AI driven surrogate modeling for digital twins in industrial processes, and he works closely with the National Center of Excellence to advance in this field.
I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Sean Whiteley. Mr. Sean brings over 25 years of experience in expertise, IT, and innovation, having worked with some of the world's largest companies. He founded Axon in 2019, where he has developed an intelligent autonomous digital twin and AI platform called Axoverse. Mr. Sean has co-led a multi-institutional collaboration to implement hospital-wide digital twins, helping predict disease spread and manage healthcare challenges.
I'd also like to introduce our fourth speaker for the day, Santosh Tumi. Mr. Santosh Tumi is a lead engineer at HCL Tech, specializing in AR, VR, MR technologies. With extensive experience as a 3D artist and XR designer, Santosh has contributed to various projects across multiple industries. His technical expertise in Maya, Unity, and Adobe software makes him a leader in creating immersive digital experiences.
I am pleased to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Amrut Mujumdar. Mr. Amrut is a PhD scholar at Indraprashna Institute of Information Technology. With a focus on human centered design, he is passionate about exact technologies, haptics, and digital twins. Mr. Amrut's innovative work involves developing digital experiences that seamlessly integrate virtual and real worlds, with an eye towards game development and business application.
I'd like to introduce the final speaker for the day, Abhishek Anand. Abhishek Anand is an implementation analyst at Hexagon R&D India, where he manages digital twin technology projects for the oil and gas industry. He's skilled at guiding projects from initial consultation through on-site implementation, ensuring that solutions align with industry standards and client expectations.
Our panelists represent a wealth of expertise across diverse areas of digital twin and AR/VR technology. We are looking forward to hearing their insights. I'll now hand it over to our moderator, Mr. Raj Vaswani, to lead us through this discussion. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Drishti and Krishna. That was a wonderful introduction for our esteemed panel. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of digital twins, AR, and VR technologies that are reshaping industries like urban planning, healthcare, and manufacturing. And we are thrilled to have an exciting lineup of experts who are driving innovation in these fields. Though we'll have a question and answer session at the end, feel free to add questions on as and when we go. I'll try to pick up if we have time in between, because we definitely want to get as much as we can from this amazing panel today. So before we dive in, this is a small question to each of our esteemed guests. Uh, what was the first aha moment that made you feel that this is the future, that digital twins, AR, and VR is going to take over in your industries respectively? I'd like to start with Sean. You can start, and then probably we can go ahead. Just a one or two line of what was the aha moment.
For us, it was being able to map in over 2,000 patients into a single hospital and then show their movement over days, minutes, and hours. This allowed the epidemiologists and the hosts and the clinicians at the hospital to move backwards and forwards in time. I don't know. Some of you may have seen Minority Report when Tom Cruise is moving backwards and forwards in the video screen in front of the screen and understand what was going on in the scene. We gave the hospital team the ability to do that in 3D with a full view of the hospital down to the hours, minutes, and second. And from there, everything's kind of evolved, being able to map in different infectious diseases, different patient states, blood temperature, blood pressure, and so on. So this gives a very different view, overall view of the hospital, but lets the clinician drill down to a minute level of detail if they need to.
Wow, that's very, very exciting. Florian, how about you?
Actually, it was the real-time simulations we achieved with new apartments. So there was this real estate developer. He wanted, besides the immersive experience, having a dashboard on, energy consumption of the apartment, not only what the interiors would be like, but CO2 carbon footprint of it, and all these comes with the ESG criteria in the European Union. So there is this law which says that by 6 years to come, all of the apartments in the European Union need to have some sort of carbon footprint. And so this was an exciting first step towards this goal where we want to go with our company too.
Awesome. Amrit, what was the first aha moment that made you feel digital twins is the future?
For me, before even starting, the aha moment was, of course, Iron Man. Because when I used to watch his movies, there was this augmented reality and everything he have created surrounding him with every instruments, electronics, and a lot of things he had. So that was my first aha moment. Then after, when I discovered the holograms, and later on I discovered these technologies. So one of the beautiful thing which I realized was the visualization of BMIs. Okay, so in construction, how these things are working, in healthcare, how these things are working was very fascinating to me. And that was the point when I realized that, yes, I want to be into this particular.
Awesome. I mean, it is definitely a very dystopian concept, which is coming to life, to be honest. Emmanuel, would you like to share your experience?
All right. I think most of us here are fascinated by technology. I think I'm one of the people that when I looked into technology, of course, I think my love for technology started with electronics,
Okay.
and with that interest, I've come across games. I think I like what Sean said about games and movies. And while working in the manufacturing industry, because we're trying to build and look at digital twin technology in the manufacturing industry, I think I was fascinated by how we can be able to give this access to uh, maintenance workers and engineers to be able to have
Mm.
full access, 24/7 live access and 3D view of how the manufacturing process and industry is working while maybe they have left the office, while they're working remotely. So building that technology, I think, made me feel like if we were to achieve this, and this will revolutionize everything and how we can be able to be working in the near future. So I was really fascinated by how we can bring about that physical industry and put it virtually and be able to have access to it remotely.
Definitely. I truly agree with that. It's very exciting about how this is going to be the future. And everyone's aha moment is, I think, usually circled around something a little bit futuristic, but right there and we can achieve it. Abhishek, what about you? And then, of course, Santosh.
So for me, so I have been implementing software solutions in the oil and gas sector. So for me, I saw some people whom I know lose their lives in the industry. So when I realized that digital twins can be used to like reduce the hazardous areas, or we can simulate the this in virtual reality, and without doing it in the physical world, then I thought that this is something which will not only replace the physical need for doing that thing, but also uh, it will it will also safeguard the industry at the same time. So for me, revolutionizing the refineries, the oil and gas sector was the main motive that I joined in this field, like in digital twins. So yeah.
Lovely. Santosh.
Yeah, so my aha moment is like so I was very junior to this, but yeah, when I explored this technology, first time I got my aha moment when I barely remember. Uh, Microsoft has its expo. When that expo, that's the first time Microsoft has introduced a digital twin, where the entire virtual person will replica the real person. Virtual of that person will replicate. So that's the point and a moment where I had my aha moment. I thought like how it's going to take technology driven into the future. And my another aha moment is like, yeah, when I was joined in Science R&D. So when I was in R&D, we used to work on the digital technologies. But when we have made a solution for eye hospital, which is the name very good eye hospital in India, LB Prasad. So we have given a solution to treat the people with the VR technology to train the doctors and AR technology to assist them. So that was like kind of aha moment for me. Literally, I was like in the next level when I used that solution. Yeah, these two are my aha moments.
Lovely. I also think, we all are focusing towards digital twin in our industries. But I mean, we have always been in it in some or the other way. Even though we would be building a 3D model, even using a basic software, probably not even Revit, even just SketchUp, we're still building something in 3D. Giving that life and then connecting that to the physical, for the real world, is actually something which is now, picking up pace, and we call it as digital twins. But somewhere or the other, and especially me being an architect, somewhere or the other, we've always been in it. And I really feel that today's entire discussion, I want to cover every single topic so that our audience, probably they know about digital twins or they don't know about it, we'll at least be able to touch base on everything. So let's see how much we can get done. And so what I've done is I've broken this down into like 5 parts. So the first one is, of course, digital twin or digital twinning. Second is AR, VR in digital twins. After that, we'll move to the challenges and limitations. Then we have the ethical considerations, and then what is the future of digital twinning. So I'll begin with the first part, which is digital twinning or digital twins. So this is my question for Florian. You're revolutionizing city planning, and I've personally seen this by your entire video which you launched on your website for the Dubai city, and I'm based out of Abu Dhabi, so I can totally relate with the entire city of digital twins, right? So you're revolutionizing city planning, you're merging physical and virtual environments. How do you see the concept of digital twins reshaping urban development? That's the number one. And what does AR VR play in this transformation? So this is a very general question, but I do feel you'll be able to answer it very well.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we started, just to give you some, oversight of it. We started as a normal visualization company like 2.5 years ago, doing these 3D renderings and staging and all of this, which thousands of companies do worldwide, right? So we said to ourselves, we want to exist in about 3 to 5 years' time. We want to still exist and not be deprived of our core business model. So we said to ourselves, we're going to go away from the we are just visualization part to a more deep tech part of it, which was obviously then the digital twin part. So what we do essentially in a nutshell is that we take the Unreal Engine, And with the Unreal Engine, there are digital twin layers. And within the Unreal Engine, we build these worlds. And we build these worlds as well on a city map base, right?
Hmm.
So what you do first is always you try to get as much as raw data as you can. So there are certain providers for cities in this world. You take Cesium, you take Black Shark, actually a company of Austria as well. You take OpenStreetMap, Google 3D Tiles, whatever there is. There exist plugins for Unreal. There doesn't exist. Anyway, you take all this raw data and you merge it within the Unreal Engine. The point is that this is still very individually driven. So urban planning seems very exciting at first, but the point is it's super challenging to have this first step to work with this urban planning mapping, right? So if you do it on an immersive way, which is our goal, we work with these game engines, as said. You could work with Unity too, but for real estate and architecture right now, it's more inclined to go towards the Unreal Engine. We will see about it. Unity is very, you know, they're very driven to have a share of this cake as well. But as for now, we are working with the Unreal Engine. So we will see about this and all of that going into Fortnite, having not these technical limitations and stuff. I think we will be talking about this as well. But urban planning as a whole, digital twin is the only way to go. But always remember as well, digital twin technology is not a technology for itself. It's a combination of different technologies, merging it into one experience as we
Hmm.
speak, right? So
Right.
if someone thinks about digital twin technology, it's not this technology by itself which someone develops. Currently, it's a mixture of different technologies, and the challenge is to make it interoperable.
True. Completely agree with that. And I think it's all about being able to operate the digital twin once it's ready and getting, a actual use case out of the digital twin rather than it just being there or just being developed. Lovely. I really love that. So I think Emmanuel can answer this one is, so your work in AI driven surrogate models for digital twins is industrial settings is like cutting edge is what I've understood, at least how much I've been able to learn about you. What are your core challenges you have faced while applying AI to digital twins? And this is very interesting because this is, I think, where digital twins actually come to life, So applying AI to digital twins in real world industrial processes, what is all that about?
All right. Okay. So I think one of the challenges, I think even Florian would maybe attest to that, is where when you create or when creating digital twin technology, for us, one of the challenges was computational power running those resources. I think it's one of the things that after this technology booms out and goes out, it will be one of the things that will now will be talking about the amount of computational resources needed, the amount of energy needed to run these digital twins. So our research focus was trying to look at, we have created these digital twins, we have this industrial process which we want to digitalize. How can we reduce the computational resources of running this same digital twin at a very high efficient and reliable way, but with less computational power? Because sometimes you'd find that when you're deploying this and you want to run the simulation of the whole process, because the first place where we wanted to run the simulation when we were actually building it was a milling machine. So it would take hours and hours to simulate that. So that was so complex for some of the computational power that we needed. So when we looked to AI-driven surrogate models, is we want to see how we can apply and use machine learning surrogate models, in this case AI-based surrogate models, to reduce the computational power, because surrogate models have been there for a while. And when we come to look at detailizing things, I think computational modeling and mathematics is one of the solutions that can be used to digitize things. So our research focus looked at, okay, so we have these digital twins. We deploy them. They'll use too much computational resources. How can we reduce that? Then we started looking at areas and already done research of how these work. So that's why we entered into how we can use AI-based surrogate models, in this case, to simplify the digitalization and to make sure while we're creating these digital twins, we are also looking at energy resource and consumption of these digital twins. For me, I feel like I think I'll email Floran. I think one of the things, imagine if you're trying to digitize a city, how much computational resources you would need. I think that's massive and interesting. Yeah, so I think I'll send you an email just to look at. I've looked at the website; it's very interesting, and the work that you're doing is massive. So that's how we went through and looked at these AI based surrogate models and how this can be used in digital twins.
No, I completely agree. Computational power is definitely going to be very interesting. I would also probably later throughout, if we could cover it here, though it's not the questions for me, but I think we could cover that probably. Is more computational power going to go in these big city developments, right? Because probably not every model is detailed within. Or is
Yeah.
it going to be more for like healthcare or something where it's more detailed models? Because both of them, their memories are high anyway, right? So I really think that is something which I would like to understand better, because I think it's one on a high level design. Is it going to be very heavy, or is it going to be more heavier on a more detailed, more intricate model? So I think we'll cover that towards somewhere in this session
Yeah.
as well. So my next question for Sean: how do you envision the role of digital twins evolving in the metaverse? I think your background is in CS compared to being an architect or from urban planning or from product design. So I think you'll really answer this very well. And second question is, will AR and VR technologies become a norm for managing and interacting with these virtual representations, or is this something else that you see as well?
Maybe starting on the second question, in terms of the adoption of VR and AR, we've supported VR and AR from day one with Magic Leap. We see some adoption of the tool sets, but really it's more back to 3D and XR technologies running more on desktops for the hospital environments, but designing from day one to be able to support VR and AR. So one of the interesting anecdotes we had when we first started working the Magic Leap was we'd actually come from the browser and using 3JS for visualizations. And in that case, 000 was the center of the world, because that's the way the 3D model builds up. And then when we built it into Magic Leap, 1 unit in the browser was 1 pixel, but 1 unit in Magic Leap was 1 meter. And so our first visualization was like 2 kilometers across. And we couldn't see anything because Magic Leap only renders out to 10 meters. But the other thing is, when you do start in AR, you don't know where the center origin is. It could be in front of you or around you. So we had to kind of adapt the 3D models to be able to handle that. Do you want to repeat the first question again?
Yeah, sure. So how do you envision the role of digital twins evolving in the metaverse? And like, so from digital twins, how do we reach the metaverse? Because that is essentially, I think, what everyone is pushing towards.
What we see is, for example, our focus is on a single building, and like a hospital building, for example. And where this can then start interacting with the metaverse is, for example, I think somebody else has also mentioned like bringing their models into Fortnite. But making that hospital available in a virtual world is something that we see evolving in terms of both physician access. So somebody, for example, a expert physician that's sitting in his bungalow in Thailand, that's actually consulting in Singapore, for example, or Vietnam, or different places across Asia Pacific, can sit there with a VR headset on, see a rendering of the hospital in the room, and understand who's in the room physically, but also virtually, so there could actually be other people supporting him. Another aspect could be, for example, in a children's hospital where we see a lot of VR being used for like pain relief and anxiety relief and so on. So this child that's in a very sterile hospital room could be putting a headset on and seeing their room actually come alive with certain like cartoon characters they're used to, but also that their doctor, for example, is not some person standing there in a lab coat, but a character. Their parents are there potentially joining from home, also in a similar environment, maybe on a PC or on a tablet or on VR or AR if they've got that. But the parents are actually there and can actually see kind of that interaction as well and hear the audio. So extending those technology into that metaverse concept, I think, is something that the digital twins can enable. Um, and the third thing then is once you do have this model, you may have like an entire version of the hospital where you've got obviously the physical mapping of all the patients, but also anybody that's interacting virtually in the hospital would also be shown as an avatar. So that virtual doctor that's moving from ward to ward, when you stand back, you'd actually see where that doctor is virtually inside a physical hospital, but shown in a virtual reality.
No, I think that's amazing. I think it comes back to the computational power. How much are we ready to use, and how much are we ready to get, or how are we going to get so much computational power to be able to not only get AR but VR and XR, and then all the work that Florian's doing, plus all the work that you are doing with the hospitals, plus all the work that Amrit is building, and everything together, and then this one seamless metaversical world, which we'll probably use. I think it is definitely the future. I don't know how far, but I think we won't get an answer today, I think, on that. But let's hope for the best. I think let's move to the next part, which is AR and VR in digital twins. And I think we can start with Amrit, who specializes in gamified versions of creating learning experiences. Amrit, my question to you: since you do specialize in creating these gamified versions of learning experiences using AR, VR, MR, how do you see AR and VR enhancing digital twin technology? One, and two, especially in the educational and industrial sector. So first part is how do you see it enhancing digital twins anyway, and then focus it on educational and industrial, since I know that is your background as well.
Okay, sure. Uh, like I have a background from electronics as well. So for education, I have a lot of gamified versions of as a whole. For that, I would just say that there are a lot of implementations which could be done. Like for example, I would say ISRO is doing wonderful in building the MR and virtual reality optimization examination for the control system for the spacecrafts and everything. So that is one which I love seeing, and I love experiencing once in a while in my lifetime someday. Second thing, I would say that AR/VR is also experiencing, enhancing the experience for an perspective of an engineer, right? And an architect, and all of us. So mostly, if I would say that what are the things which are happening? So I would say that a student or anybody who is in industry, if they want particularly to visualize anything, or if they want an environment to work on virtually while having a 360 degree of freedom, I mean to say that the 3D model for everything which they can visualize, which they can interact with, through which they can actually maintain things, through which they can control things. So it is a very wonderful thing which is happening. Moving towards the enhancing part, so there are multiple companies which are actually giving us a lot of things. For example, I would say Siemens is doing a wonderful job in digital twin. So they are providing a lot of sensor data to us on a free of, like, not of course on free of course, but they are providing us this platform called as NX and Mindsphere, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the two platforms which are being used. So initially what used to happen was we had a lot of chunks of data from sensors, from the different kind of analog things, and we were not able to process things at that particular point of. Yes, we have the data engineers, we have the data scientists who are actually making those data in such a fashion so that these can be actually visualized and in AR, VR, and the maintenance and the predictive maintenance and everything is happening very efficiently, to be precise.
I think we lost you there, Amrit. I think we lost Amrit in between. I think let's continue and then we'll come back to Amrit. So moving on, Abhishek, you have worked in industrial digital twins, especially in the oil and gas sector. So you give us an idea on how do you integrate AR and VR to visualize complex industrial systems in a way to enhance both product design and safety protocols. Like, what is your idea on that? Hi, Amrit. I just moved on to Abhishek. I think you got disconnected. Then we'll come back to you in a bit.
Okay, so should I?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to like add a few points. So Florian is planning a city, right? So in industries, we are basically planning a refinery. So it's on a smaller scale, but for a specific refinery. Then you asked me about the product design, right? So see, in refineries or in oil and gas sector, the main concern is hazards. So how we can reduce it by using AR and VR. So suppose there are three processes. I'll give an example to explain this. A, B, and C. So and the processes are in a chronological order. Like after A only, then only we can follow B and then C. But in some certain cases, the process B, the equipments used are not working. So we have to bypass from A to C. But if we do it physically, there's a chance that some people might face certain situations which might be harmful for them as well as everyone surrounding the refinery. So in that case, we can use virtual reality and integrate it with digital twin and simulate the same thing there. Then we already know that what will be the final result, and then we can move on. And certain situations we don't even need to do it in physical world. We can just simulate it, and then we can know the result, and then move ahead. And about the product design, suppose we have the digital twin of a pump which whose history we have, and we have a similar pump who is doing the which is like we are doing the same work with as the pump whose history we have. We can compare both the pumps, and then we can finalize about its maintenance or about its improvements, or how we can use it with another digital twin, and like how we can increase the productivity of a refinery basically. So yeah, I
Right.
think that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Predictive maintenance is essentially what we are, what is the best way to look at this. If you have historical data from one project, you can probably, compare
Yeah.
it to the actual project which is being constructed and then get an idea. Amazing. So I think that's something which is definitely being used, especially in smart FM, which I'm recently working on as well myself. But let's move on. So Santosh, for you, this question is: how do you use digital twins in AR and VR, evolving in the healthcare industry, and how do you see it evolving in the healthcare industry over the next decade? And AR's remote healthcare solutions. So I think
Yeah.
Sean touched a point on that as well. So would you like to elaborate a bit and let us know how does AR VR plays big role in it?
Yeah, here we are coming to extra technology. We collaboratively call it extra technology. In
Okay.
healthcare, particularly, it is a game changer. So I have started my working, real time working and real time learning in healthcare. Um, I think it's the thing we have worked for Philips R&D. So there, Philips has a device. Which used to test the breast coils for breast cancer for ladies. They used to test with breast coils. So particularly we have worked in that. So I was a main designer role in that. So when I used to work in that, then I got to know. Previously, I thought that when they approached us and we have given a solution on a node basis, like previous starting a project, we will work on a node basis, like what are we going to do? So management type of discussions. I thought that maybe this will work out or not. But when we are into that, yeah, I have seen a drastic change in my perspective, also learning perspective. So it's like in completely in remote healthcare. So when it comes to healthcare equipment or when it comes to treatment of that, and even when I was part of a eye surgery for LV Prasad Eye Hospital, we using this AR technology. Then I realized that it is going to be a game changer in the coming future, because definitely each and every junior doctor or each I have seen really in reality, we have developed a solution for eye surgery. This is the real time experience of mine. We have developed a solution for eye surgery for a patient. So when they are doing surgery, the eye which they are working on, so the digital with the real time environment, there is a digital content on top of it, and it is a live example. Completely it is the live example for senior doctors who are teaching to the junior doctors well when they are doing the performing the surgery. So each and every point, so it is somewhat it is a next level solution. And there are a lot of spaces when coming to, there are a lot of spaces like even like how can we say, while planning a surgery or remote surgery or taking patients like giving remote treatment. So these kind of places where XR can fill the gap. See, it's not every time like we are in India, so we need one especially I need one heart specialist, like cardiac specialist. So when I need to improve, so he is from US or UK. So every time I can't go there and have it right. So this is the place where I can get market standard doctors, well-known doctors, so where I can get the remote treatment, and where I can get the personalized treatments with the doctors which I like. Basically patient will go to a doctor on a hope, like this doctor will treat me fine. So these are the places where this technology plays a crucial role. And yeah, as I said, I will work with a lot of projects in medical technology, and I have seen the real time examples. So this is the place where AR VR or complete XR technology can it will be definitely future of the in the health sector. Definitely it going to be future of health sector when coming to treatment of performing surgeries and remote assistant guidance for the patients. Yeah.
And definitely, I see a lot of benefits in healthcare, though I'm not directly from the healthcare industry, but of course it makes sense. And I'm sure it's been there since a long time in the healthcare industry. Probably started from just basic robotics and then moved more into, high level detailed machinery. I mean, amazing. So I think before we, end the AR VR digital twins, I'd like to come back to Amrit. Definitely understanding that AR VR is something which is being very big in education, and it should be taught, and you're on the forefront of it as well. What advice is it that you have for students, and how can they start to learn and work with digital twins for like all the students who are watching today and professionals who want to get into the field? How do they
Mhm.
start, and then how do they move forward with learning more about digital twins, AR and VR?
So this punchline which my professor used to give is start learning. And I was so curious to learn everything. So I have a compilation of everything. Just throw all the information to you guys, catch it as fast as you can. So there are multiple things which a student or a person in industry who want to switch into this particular domain can start learning. So the basic thing first is start learning something about designing. The most crucial stuff for everything start with designing. Until and unless you don't have here, you can't have anywhere. So that we say. So first start with designing. Okay, learn some 3D modeling softwares like Blender, Maya. Okay, there are multiple more. Okay, after that you can learn about the concepts of digital twin, which are absolutely freely available on MIT OpenCourseWare, or maybe you can go on edX, Audacity, or anywhere you want to. Then comes a tool, like there are multiple tools which will get integrated for this particular domain. So like if you want the visualization part, okay, so you can go with Unity, Unreal. If you want more realistic part, you go with Unreal, and if you want a POC, the proof of concept sort of thing, go with Unity. So use the tools as tools only, not as any rigid destinations. So stay adaptable and always open to learn, because like there are many cases where, like recently, past year only, Unity has raised its pricing. So it upsetted many developers, right? And many shifted to Unreal and Godot and everything like that. So beware about it. Like many, there are various good and augmented reality and virtual reality, which who are learning augmented reality starts with making filters or something like that. So recently, Meta has announced that they are going to shut down the MetaSpark Studio for everybody by the next year. So be adaptable to same things. And also, we have heard this past year that Wikitude is also shutting down. So these are the perspective which you have to keep in mind and start learning. And there are multiple courses, there are multiple things like for design perspective, I love the Interaction Design Foundation. So they have their course. Okay, so it's like IXDF something. And apart from that, there are multiple corporations who are working under this. Like the best thing is PTC, like they are working, Viewforia is the product of them, and they are working immensely good in that particular domain. I love the Azure Digital Twin as well. And the Siemens technology, of course, they are creating the digital twin resources for everyone accessible, right? So you can use them. Like two of the beautiful things which are NX and Mindsphere. So they allows you to connect the physical devices with digital twins. So we have this data coming from the sensors and other physical devices, and then you can interpolate them or maybe manipulate them, and you can use those particular data to actually get predictive analysis, or maybe you can get any kind of analysis whichever you want. And Industry 4.0 is actually demanding a lot of not just IoT, Internet of Things, but the industrial Internet of Things. And this is a next level because IoT we are using right now in our day-to-day life. So the smart buttons and everything are part of IoT. But if you want to go on a deeper level, like everybody here, like Florin and Sean Sir and Emil, he all are doing in the industry, so they know that how industrial Internet of Things coming of data and everything are important. And after that, making those data in such tabular formatted so that it can be readable, it can be understandable is the another challenge. So that comes with one of the very good thing that guys you have a lot of scope in data engineering as well, because lots and lots of data is coming tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and you have to process those data because there must be someone who can understand the language of data, and we want to. So I hope, Raj, that that answers your question.
No, lovely. I think you went really deep into the educational aspect of it. I'm not sure how many people would relate in terms of the data aspect of it, but definitely I think learning a 3D software is the way to begin with at least. And I'll just add to your point as well. Just a very simple way, and I've been an educator for the past 7 years. SketchUp. It's very simple software. No one will agree it's a digital twin software, and I agree myself, it's probably not. But SketchUp, take the SketchUp model, very simple. You can build a house, an airplane, you can build as basic things as you want. Take that, put it into a software called Twin Motion, which is an Unreal aspect as well. It's another application of Unreal, very simple to use. And this could, because Unreal gives you Twin Motion gives you a very easy way to build your first probable VR project, I would say. But with all the the details and the very complexities of Unreal Engine aside, Twinmotion is very simple. I believe we've used it a lot as well, especially in 3D visualization. I'll stop there, but I'll move forward to our next part, which is challenges and limitations. And I want to start with Florian, and this is just a question I think Florian will answer beautifully. The metaverse, right? Florian, everything that you're developing through PropX, including the urban planning of cities, all the computation and everything left aside, what is the metaverse for you? And what are the challenges and limitations you feel we are going to face probably now or in the future when it comes from digital twins to the metaverse journey?
Thank you so much. Very good question. I mean, when Zuckerberg started with the term metaverse, everybody was super excited. But it kind of, didn't lift off like everybody would have imagined. Why did that happen? Because there, as you said already, there are these limitations, technical limitations, which are still here. So um, there is this. There is pixel streaming. I don't know if you have heard about this term. So, pixel streaming solutions, there are a few providers already out there. Um, what does it do? Pixel streaming does give you an immersive experience on an office laptop or on a casual smartphone or on a tablet, right? So through pixel streaming, you can overcome these challenges which come with immersive experiences. If you would not have pixel streaming, you could only smoothly run an immersive experience through a gaming laptop, right? But not everybody has a gaming laptop. So there are these challenges which are still there, as pixel streaming is too expensive for the ordinary to pay for. So, as one of the panelists said already, can't remember who was it, but he was exactly right when he was saying we need to, have solutions on 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 how to experience immersive experiences, maybe on a web browser, right? So having solutions for this as well is very essential. People who are developing on this and get it right will earn huge lot of money, I think, because this is still something which hasn't been resolved yet properly. So this is something to go for. Metaverse on a whole. So there exists many definitions on what the metaverse actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, in Europe, metaverse was hyped, but then everybody realized uh, actually they couldn't grasp what the metaverse is because the technical limitations were too high. And if they had put on then the old metaverse meta headset, it was like they felt 15 years ago when they played games, right?
Hmm.
So now we are getting there with the Apple Vision Pro, with a light version of the Apple Vision Pro. It's all getting there to a more mass adoptive thing. And that's now where also Fortnite comes into place. I mean,
Yeah.
have you seen these crazy experiences where they have uploaded mesh models or city experience as a whole, and you could run through the environment of Fortnite through these mesh models, right? So
Yes.
I think that Fortnite, maybe at least for the real estate part of it, of the metaverse, will be a very good one and be watched out for, because you could really place on a quite good resolution space mesh models in there of your future real estate, and people could experience it. And what's the huge advantages of putting it into Fortnite? You have this mass adoption, right?
Hmm.
Now you have these limitations, concurrent users, while pixel streaming, it all adds up. Too much costs. Nobody really does it because it's too expensive. Not even the big companies go for it. They may go
Hmm.
for, one. You render it in the cloud with maybe two, three, four concurrent users, and that's normally it, because they don't want to simply pay for it. So they say to you, okay, do some static 360 experience, and then we have this mass adoption purpose thing. But the point is, Fortnite gives you an immersive experience, and on the same part, you have this mass adoption approach. So watch out for Fortnite, at least for new real estate. I think this is in the next years to come, where we all have still these technical limitations, really to be watched out for. And I'm very exciting where it's all going. I mean, Fortnite is super hyped, and but yeah, it's justified for a big part that it's hyped, because I think next to Roblox, I mean, Fortnite gives you much more of an experience solution. You can do much more. You can, while you are a fan, Unreal Editor, you can really do your brand island, and it's more for the AR VR part of it.
Hmm.
When it comes to full scale virtual twins, right? When you do city planning, when you try to incorporate GIS, when you try to incorporate building information modeling, reality mapping, and all of this. There is no Fortnite. Fortnite is for
Hmm.
gaming. It's for new real estate, maybe. But then there is this, and so solutions out there like VGIS, like Arca from Italy, like 51 World from China, and all these providers out there, they're still, trying to overcome these challenges which come with this huge computational power when you do city twins, right? So, as a last word, full-scale digital twins not only come with the outer hull of it, but only with the inner hull of a digital twin, meaning you visualize the BIM model maybe, or you could go from the city view into the inner hull of actually one single building. And then you have the facility management there, you would have the BIM modeling there, the GIS, all of this. But this comes with such huge computational power that it isn't done yet on a single platform. So, last word on it, Fraunhofer, a research institute, a university very well known for its technology in this part, they estimated that there will be alone in Germany 500 to 800 city digital twins built in the next years to come. So, there are potential clients out there which can be caught if you do it well, and we are still very early moving in this digital twin sector. So it's more early moving than maybe the metaverse itself, right? So digital twin is super exciting, and if anybody goes or specializes within this sector, it's next to the future, I think.
I love it. I think the way I don't think I think you said it very well, but it is actually what's going to happen. A game development company, or probably a game like Fortnite, which has BIM models within it with AR and VR access, and then probably a bunch of ML running behind and giving us a lot of artificial
Yeah.
intelligence in the future. And I think I had this discussion with one of the top executives just last week in Abu Dhabi, actually from KEO Consultants. I think y'all can Google them, pretty big company doing very amazing work in the Middle East. And we were talking about how they're probably thinking of deploying something in real time, simulating, simulating cities which are being developed probably in the Saudi. But I think it's very dystopic to the governments today as well. I think somewhere because of the funds or because of the capital. But I do see everyone talking about it, and I'm very excited to see how it's going to go ahead. So lovely. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to ask the next question to Emmanuel. So again, coming to challenges and limitations. So the question is actually, what strategies do you employ? But I would also like to phrase it in a way where, what strategies would you suggest if you have already gone through it, to scale digital twin technology, right, across different industrial applications? And how do we manage the complexity and customization? So this is the same question, I think, where it came to, there's high level models like buildings on an overview, but not interior detail. And then there's like a lot of intricate, smaller, very detailed models. So what are the strategies that you employ to scale digital twin technology across, all these different industrial applications which exist?
All right. Thank you. I think what Florina said, I think makes a lot of sense for us. First part of how we wanted to implement this technology, we looked at when you do 3D modeling and you build all this 3D model of either a plant, either oil gas company or a city, uh, running it and simulating it for future things that you'd want. For us, our target was uh, um maintenance, because the whole work area, as in the whole plant, we're looking at prediction, fault analysis, prediction, and all that. So when you are looking at this, you'd want to take up, for example, before we actually build the whole 3D model of it, we want to look at what components can we actually make less heavy, in this case, not use a lot of computational power, so that while we are simply building and building upon the building blocks and digitizing everything, the whole model of what we want to build is able to run efficiently on different platforms. So I think, although I'm more focused on the machine learning part and the prediction part,
Hmm.
I've not gone a lot into the 3D. We have built the 3D model. We have not looked at how we can make that less, uh, that how we can use less computational power. 3D modeling, I don't know how that will be in the near future. But when it comes to digitizing and using machine learning models to actually make these models less use less energy. We have tried to use like the basic mathematical models that we have used in 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 computational mathematics. So I would suggest, or I would think, in the near future when building these 3D models, it would make sense. Of course, while we're building them and all these capabilities are opening up, we're now looking at, we have all built all this thing, but now it's becoming, it's more like we have, I think someone mentioned the meta, it's like we have built a whole new world and it's become so complex, so much that running it will be it's
The
like
biggest
running the
challenge.
real world. I think in the near future we'll be running the same energy we run in the real world, running these virtual machines. So building, while you're building, looking at the computational cost and trying to use as less computational models, but also mimicking it exactly, trying to look for the best solution while achieving the best accuracy in building these models. So for us, it's more like a manufacturing robot. So we're looking at, uh, can this uh, build plant that we have use less computational power? Okay, what type of models can we employ? Then we look at computational modeling. We looked at AI modeling. We looked at some of the machine learning models that can replace the heavy, complex solution that we actually have. I think that's one of the ways that I think that would help.
No, and I'd like to continue from your question and move to Sean. Sean, because you're from this background of CS and you've seen this for the past 20, I think more than 22 years. How do you think we can handle the data overload when working with such digital twins and AR and VR solutions?
Yeah, I guess there's two parts I think from a data overload, and I'll come back to some of the other topics in terms of the adoption and challenges with encryption and privacy. I think mentioned as well, but just pick up one or two points made by some of the other teams. So one of the things I guess in working in an enterprise environment that we've seen is that there's a big focus on web browser.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons why we didn't go to Unreal was because they did drop support for web browser as a target in Unity, Unreal 4. And so hopefully, maybe there's a bit of news on the horizon. They're looking at web GPU support for Unreal 5, which will make that a viable target. But at least in the enterprise spaces we work in, then any CIO you talk to is going to say it has to be over the web. And that basically leaves Unity or now Godot. And then given that somebody also mentioned the price changes at Unity, that's also affecting us. So we're now looking at using Godot more in some of the use cases that is better suited to. And we've also seen, I guess, Meta investing in Godot. And in the latest version of Godot 4.3, they're actually natively supporting the Quest device. So hopefully some good news there to make it more easily accessible for that environment, because I think the whole Unity area has made it harder to get into the metaverse, and obviously Meta is wanting to support that. And then supporting some of the stuff we're talking about in terms of Fortnite. We did actually have a version we were supporting on alt space VR, so taking one of the levels from the hospital and projecting that into alt space and allowing people to work through that was something we did early on, because it allowed the upload of Unity models, and then Microsoft closed that. So it's kind of a bit of a wait and see. We are definitely progressing on the desktop type of VR side of things to make sure that we support that for our use cases, and while still supporting VR and AR, some other common devices, but we'll see how that plays out. To overload, one of the things we
Awesome.
did fairly early on, and it was actually a bit of, sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Sorry. What we saw was that we spent all this time building up the 3D model of the hospital. So all the wards and rooms and locations and so on, and relatively high fidelity, well, moderate level of fidelity. We had to keep it low poly to make sure we can still run on a hospital grade laptop. So even though we have got a complete model of the hospital, we do use low fidelity models and meshes and things like that. So we can run on a 3-year-old hospital grade laptop, which has also meant actually we can run at least a single level of hospital on the Quest and even the HoloLens, because we built it at that low poly level and worked up. Rather than starting from the high level with what you can do Unreal and work down. So what we did for is what I call fidelity for the use case. For infectious disease tracking, we didn't need a high visually accurate model. We just needed to show where the wards and beds were. But after we built up this model and we put it in front of the epidemiologist, we gave them a key, the L key for layers, which allowed them to take parts of the hospital away. And what they ended up doing is spending most of their time actually looking at just the beds. They press the L key 5 times, all the walls and the beds and the doors and everything go away. It means the performance also increases, but they just see the patients on the beds moving around, right? And that's what they look at first. When they did to see if this is a 3-bed or a 5-bed or a single room, they put the layers back so they can see the beds and the wards and so on. But then they go back to the other model. So that's one thing. And another thing was just allowing them to map in data that we wanted to, that let them actually just see, are they just looking at COVID? Are they just looking at MRSA? Are they just looking at CPCRE and these other diseases? We let them choose which disease they wanted to map into the view at any time. Because when you step back, you see 2,000 beds in the hospital, all the patients, all the data are moving in. But to get that overview actually is good, but we still let them drill down to the next level of detail if they need it for their use case.
Oh, awesome. No, and when you were talking about the L key, when we move away, when we reduce the level of detail of the model to kind of view what we really want, all I can think about is the future being data centers, solar parks, and then people in VR headsets. That's all. And then that's what probably the metaverse solution can be solved, I guess, if that's the world where everyone's trying to go towards. But I think we are 1 hour almost into this conversation. I think 10-15 minutes went in the intro, but I'd like to just cover the last 2 segments as well, which is the ethical considerations of AR and VR. And when we talk about ethical considerations, I'd like to ask Abhishek a question over here. Is that being from the oil and gas industry, and you've already told us how AR and VR, how you can use AR and VR in this oil and gas industry. You were touching on predictive maintenance, and I think this is very important when it comes to digital twins, especially as I told you in the smart FM, or as I've understood in the smart FM space as well. Can you elaborate a bit more on predictive maintenance and its ethical considerations, because that's a lot of data that is being studied to give out information. So what are the ethical considerations of organizations? What steps are these organizations taking to kind of safeguard their data?
Yeah, so when we talk about predictive maintenance, there are two terms that come in industries: operations and maintenance. So these two go hand in hand. Now, for our organization, both the things cannot go at the same time. Okay, so when the operations is going on, the equipments that are used to produce the materials, those are being used, and when maintenance is there, then the unit takes a shutdown, and then these are maintained. So if we have a digital model, we can create various what if scenarios, or how we can manage our inventories based on the digital models simulation that we will create. Now, about ethical considerations, so our organization has to have a original digital model which it can compare with a physical product. Now, sometimes like an organization cannot just pull out a random model and that data can be compared with a physical world. It has to be of the similar dimensions or similar properties. Like if we talk about suppose a pump which is being used in a refinery. Now, the pressure that it can handle is suppose 5 pascals, and we are comparing it with a digital twin which can only handle up to 3 pascals. Now, that's not ethical. So these have to be maintained, and these records of comparison or historical data has to be maintained in such a way that it is accessible to all the clients of that institute, so that no one can question them. Now, these can be integrated through VR, and digital twins, like we were talking about 3D models, right? So there are various 3D models which can be whose data is already present in the institute's database. Now those data can be fetched according to the situation and can be used to plan the further predictive maintenance. Suppose a pump needs maintenance after its remaining life is around, like suppose it can run without any maintenance for 5 hours. I'm just giving an example. In real life it is way higher than this. So we have to compare it with a pump, and then we can schedule a maintenance so that the life of the pump can be increased. So I think that answers your question, Raj.
Just to add on to that, just one more,
Yeah,
I want one more answer from you is that
yeah, yeah.
since you are working in oil and gas, there is all this data that is being fetched from all these different pumps, right? So
Yes,
when we
yes.
talk about an ethical consideration, I just want to understand that a lot of other what is the security protocol to safeguard the data there and then only? What is the security protocol that is being used?
Didn't get your question actually.
So all the data which is present within, or what is being retrieved from the
Yes,
pumps
yes.
or from all the
Okay.
different machinery, is
Hmm.
there any security protocol in place to safeguard the data,
Okay.
at point? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So there are certain, suppose, I am implementing softwares, right? So those softwares can be accessed by only certain users who are working in the field. Now,
Okay.
and there are also restrictions on the server. Suppose those data are fetched in a server, so only under that institute's VPN we can access that server. Otherwise, you
Hmm.
cannot just randomly Google the server and fetch
Hmm.
the data. That is not allowed. So, like that, there are certain restrictions, and also they are not connected to internet. They are connected to intranet, so that
Okay.
no virus attacks or anything suspicious can be downloaded.
Okay, understood. Amazing. I think that's what really we want to understand, because it's very important that the data is safeguarded all the time, and
Yeah,
especially in such important fields like oil and gas, where probably
yeah,
governments are involved as well.
yeah. Exactly.
So I'd like to ask Santosh, and I'd like you to pick up from that point, since he's from the oil and gas and you're from the medical side of IoT application development and robotics. Or where do you feel how is the data safeguarded in this space? Is it the same as VPNs because there is machinery more over here, or because it's more focused on healthcare? What would like to say about ethical considerations in your field as well?
Yeah, yeah. Nowadays, any company, their whatever it going to be their models or their engine machinery designs, everything are like it is like too expensive, and it is too important for them. Every company has certain machinery which designed by their own engineers, and so data is so important. So these data, while after completing the AR VR or digital twin solution, after implementation of these things, data is the most thing which need to be in big consideration. uh, Before going to that, I need to add a point. Like before a few years back, people are ready to develop the solutions of AR VR, whether it may be in medtech or whether it may be in aerospace, whether it may be in semiconductor. But what happened uh, in COVID? Like a lot of big companies, top tech giants, data also has been breached. So when we are going to clients and giving the solutions about this, the final questions they are asking, like, what are the measures have you taken to like what are the measures have you taken to protect our data? Because we, as a project persons, we are asking, you can give your designs, you can give your blueprints, you can give your all the data, we can develop. At the secondary, they actually, their point is valid, we are asking from our side to develop a solution, but their point is too valid, right? Because they, that's their hard earned technology. And so if they're giving free to us and we are asking like a normal thing, so there is lot of limitations to them also. So to overcome this, we had developed a multi-factor authentication
Hmm.
for the Philips, particularly Philips. We have developed a multi-factor authentication. It is like uh, the role based access also we have developed. It's like, if I am a designer, so designer has a like up to limit access for the CAD if I was a developer, he has some limit access. If he is a like manager or a technical person, solution architect, he has some limitations like that. Role based access towards the data, and also after completing the complete solution, nowadays people are going for end-to-end encryption, like robust encryption or multi-factor authentication. Like it's like the persons who are into the project, the persons who are going to use the project or the solution, particularly they are able to use, they are able to given the this authentication, multi-factor authentication access. Like it should be, they need to be login in the company mail id, and the mail id, and also there would be people are nowadays using rfid's or rss or vpn global product like that. So it should be in multiple stages to access the data. So one person, if we want to use the entire solution regarding the data, so he has multiple steps to cross. So after getting all these permissions only, then he can able to access the data. This is the main thing, because I had personally I had got this question. Simply I called to them and I asked, I want your designs so I can make the exact replica of that. Then they're asking, we are designing, it's like a lot of privacy, and you're asking like directly. So there is a point and limitations. Yeah, this is the places where we use multi-factor authentication, role based access. Like if a developer wants, yes, some up to that only we need to give access. It's not like we need to give complete solution access. He wants to develop up to the code and he wants to test that much of access only. Like it's like role based access, multi-factor authentication, robust encryption, end-to-end encryption. So these kind of securities we can use, so that I can't say it is 100%, but 95% it can save the data. That's what.
Amazing. I completely agree, and I also think that I mean we were supposed to. We didn't. We since I'm from the BIM background, I've had a lot of work with developers and contractors who didn't want to give their fee of procurement away to us, because that's something that they didn't want us to know, because they assumed that we're working with a bunch of other clients and that data should not get mismatched. It's very basic data, but they were very against it. And I think
Yeah.
every industry is going to have to figure out their own way of proving to their clients that this is how we're going to safeguard and secure your data. Lovely, I love this. I think I would love to speak so much more to you. I think this could go on for another hour, but
Yeah.
it's already been over an hour and 10 minutes right now. So I'd like to move to the last part of it, which is the future of digital twins. And I just don't want to ask one or two people a question over here. I would like, as we started, that what was your aha moment of getting into this? Since everyone over here is from a background of education, the actual metaverse development, like Florian's doing, healthcare. We have Sean, we have Santosh, who's working AR in the AR and VR development. We have oil and gas, and we also have R&D, and he's almost going to become. I don't know if you've become a PhD at Emmanuel, or are you yet going to get your doctorate? But someone from robotics as well. So everyone, I would like one line, a very simple line answer for our audience. What is the future of digital twin according to you? One line, as simple as it can be, doesn't have to be complicated, so that the audience can understand how important this field is. I think we can start with Amrit since it's education, and then we can move on to Florian, Sean, Santosh, Emmanuel, and Abhishek.
Sure. So one thing which I personally think will be the next big thing, or is the future of digital twin, is definitely in the education sector. I would say the visualization stuff and the quality control. To be very honest, and that would
Lovely.
be the next big thing for now.
Florian.
If you think of it in terms of urban planning, I think the next big step is an operating system, a platform as a service for digital twins. Doesn't exist yet globally.
I think PropX would come out with one, probably. All
We
the
are
best.
working on it. We are
Yes,
working on
yes.
it actually.
I'll definitely stay in touch with you, Florian. Amazing. Sean.
We see that then the opportunity for Gen AI to drive down the barriers of cost for adoption. The two big cost areas are integration of the data sources, like enterprise data integration, and also the mapping in the first place, because most of our environment is already built We don't have the privilege of CAD 3D models or BIM models that we can adopt. And we're already seeing, for example, Gen AI being able to very vastly help with integration. But even now, where Claude 3, we can give it a CAD map, like a 2D floor plan of a hospital. It can then start turning it into Godot commands to actually create a 3D model of that floor plan. So Gen AI, I think, is going to play a big role in the in driving down that cost of adoption.
Emmanuel.
Oh, okay. So I think for me, just like Shona said, I think integration. Then also, I think offering fast and reduced time. So while we're integrating all these digital twins, I think we'll also be looking at offering a fast and reduced time. In this case, optimized solutions, so that at least they can be easily integrated into uh, different areas. So once we sort out the next part, I think integration will be one of them as well. Yeah.
Lovely. Santosh.
Yeah, in one word, I can say digital twin. It's like one sentence. Yeah, when we see the problem, when we add our creativity and technology towards the problem to make a solution, it would be the future.
Abhishek.
Yeah, for me, I think the next big step will be less and less manual processes and more of integration of a software with AI.
Lovely. So I think just to summarize everyone's points, we got Amrit, Florian, Sean, Emmanuel, Santosh, and Abhishek. The future of digital twins summarized by them: visualization, a platform for the metaverse. We have Gen AI. We have uh, optimized and I think well integrated the sorry, I think I got the word confused, but optimized and well integrated data consumption, the usage of it, and hopefully a better way of computational power. We've got Santosh with creativity, which I think is the main reason why probably AI will not take over completely, but we'll still be there. And of course, Abhishek with it's all about software and how AI will use with improved use cases. Lovely. I think this was a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to give everyone an opportunity to really speak out their minds and actually talk about what they believe digital twins is. I'd also like to hand it over now to Drishti and or Krishna from the SIES GST team to give us and also thank them for this wonderful opportunity to have this amazing conversation. I think I was honored to actually be able to speak to all of you. Thank you all so much. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Thank you, Raj. You had driven through entire this panel discussion in the next level.
Yeah, you even though we are from different industries, you have tackled it really well. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I think everything came out from all of your LinkedIn profiles. That's all that I had to read to actually truly understand how we could probably complete this together. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you to all our panelists for such insightful and thought provoking discussions. It's clear that we are at the cusp of incredible technological advancements, and the perspectives shared today have given us all a deeper understanding of how AR, VR, and digital twins are shaping the future.
We have received some interesting questions from our audience. Now it's time to address those. Let's get started.
We'll be having a Q&A right now. Okay, so we have a
So,
first question. What role do you think AI and ML will play in improving the accuracy and functionality of digital twins over time? I would like us panelists to answer the question.
I think I already mentioned, that we see Gen AI playing an increasing role in this area, both in terms of code generation, code integration, and validation, and also in the creating the mapping in the first place. One of the biggest maintenance challenges for any digital twin that's mapping the real world is that even buildings change over time. And I'm sure Florian will also say, from PropX, like the buildings, what is as designed is not always as built. And so that sometimes it can take a long time to work that out. So having that ability for AI to detect and correct those automatically, or maintain it. Even in the hospital, we see renovations and things like that happening over time. So the more you move that slider backwards across time, where we see the patient moving, but actually even the hospital itself is moving. If we go back 2 years, we've had wards that have closed down and restarted. We've had beds move around, we've had new beds added, and so on. And all that needs to be made sure that we maintain an accurate model of reality at any point in time and do it effectively, cost effectively for the hospitals.
We have a next question from Abira Khan. Her question is, what are some creative or unexpected industries where digital twins could make a significant impact in future?
Yeah, it's like creative or unexpected industries in digital twins. It's like yeah, particularly manufacturing. People are already into that, but definitely, as I was also from manufacturing, definitely it going to be unexpected industry. Now people are slowly moving to that, but in future, definitely it going to be an unexpected thing in manufacturing industry, and also coming to few industries, few areas where we can touch. It's like gaming, or it's like some maintenance activities doing by engineers. So these are the places where this can impact in future at next level.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
another question from Shruti Rawat. Can digital twins be used effectively in small scale businesses, or is it mainly beneficial for large enterprises?
Like to take the question that yes, definitely, Shruti, that there are multiple small businesses, small scale businesses or mid scale businesses, MSMEs, which are actually using the digital twin using these softwares, okay, which have already been in the industry, like Siemens have created, like other things have created. So if you are in a car manufacturing industry, okay, or maybe you have that this store called as the grocery store and something like that. So you can use the AR VR technologies and have the stock implementation, supply chain, and everything. You can visualize those particular things in this digital twin. So yes, of course, you can use the digital twin effectively in small scale businesses.
Okay, sir, the next question we have is, how do you address the issue of data synchronization between the real world and its digital twin, especially when there are rapid changes in the physical environment?
I would like to take this question. As I am working on a similar industry, so we have rapid changes in the physical environment. So for this, we have real-time sensors. These are called IP21 sensors. These can be synchronized with the server in which the data is getting fetched or data is getting stored, and this updates the readings on the real time basis. And you can also set up a time when you want to record, like suppose you want the data from 4:30 a.m., but it is now 9:30. We can do that too. So basically it depends on the sensors and the server in which it is getting fetched.
What types of sensors and data streams are typically used to update digital twin in real time?
I think I answered this question already. Like these are like from Spentech IP21 sensors, like which I have worked with. And what was the second part? Data streams. Uh, I think the readings basically are stored in a database. I did not get the question actually. What do you mean by data streams? But yeah, sensors, IP21 sensor can be easily used. And also there's a sensor called limbs sensor, so that can also be used, which are basically tags which fetches values from real equipments to a server.
I think Emmanuel could do the answer on data streams probably.
Okay, so I think one of the things, an example I'll give is, okay, we have this working manufacturing robot and maybe packaging machine. So an example I'll give is the first time that we were trying to build the digital model of that equipment, we looked at how and what type of sensors can actually send uh, data to the cloud. So an example I'll give is I work with vibration sensors. I think some were Microsoft products where we're able to put them on the machine and they're able to send, they have already integrated APIs to send maybe to the cloud or to any given drive. So I think different companies offer different equipment of sensors that can capture the data and send it live to the cloud. So if you can have that data stream, and I think Siemens also has that integration. I've not looked at what type of sensors they and data streams they offer, but for now, for us, we use Microsoft products, and that's how we're able to send our data that was captured live on the machine.
Okay, thank you, sir. We also have another question. How does the integration of a physical object or a system with its digital twin improve real time monitoring and digital making in industrial applications?
Um, I'd like a panelist to answer the question like Tejraj has asked.
I think Santosh, industrial applications would be your forte as well.
No.
Okay, I think in the integration of physical objects with systems and digital twins to improve real-time monitoring with decision making. So when it comes to decision making, I think it's all about maintenance and predicting it. And if you can predict maintenance and if you can predict outcomes, it's essentially the whole point of the integration, which is basically why we create digital twins in the first place. It's not it's a place for interaction, but I think it's also a place that if we have, let's assume a real 3D model with all the data or all the entire detailed 3D model built, and you have an actual digital twin built of it. The minute you connect it via, let's say, a data stream that could be probably a cloud use or something like BigQuery or something which is probably right now people are using Power BI to directly take out the analytics of the data as well. So if you can monitor a physical space, probably something like a data center where we require less human beings to be involved in that place. And I'm saying this because I'm from the architectural background. It's probably in different sets as well. It could be in healthcare. It could be in industrial. The same way that our panelists have said before this, if we can monitor that and get the analytics on a dashboard in front of us, we can take better decisions, and that will essentially lead to better outcomes. And that's the whole point of having this connection as well.
Okay, thank you for those thoughtful questions, and I hope the answers provided today have clarified your thoughts and sparked new ideas. Before we conclude, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all our speakers for sharing their time and expertise.
And also special thank you to our moderator, architect Raj Vaswani, for guiding us through such an engaging and smooth discussion. Your insights were invaluable.
And to
You're
our
welcome.
esteemed speakers, Mr. Florian Humo, your perspectives on AR, VR, and digital twins were truly innovative. We are grateful for the knowledge you brought to this session.
Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you for breaking down concepts and making the role of a digital twin in the process clear and accessible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amrut Mujumdar, for your vision of future immersive technologies was really enlightening, and we appreciate the practical applications you discussed.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Abhishek Anand, your hands-on experience with digital twin in the oil and gas sector provided valuable insights into real-world implementation.
Really honored to stay. Thank you.
Mr. Santosh, thank you for sharing your experience in AR/VR design and development. Your passion for the field was evident and inspiring.
Thank you, team.
Mr. Sean Whiteley, we deeply appreciate your contribution and the futuristic approach you presented regarding digital twin in healthcare.
I think he's left the chat, but I'm sure he's very grateful as well.
And also, we would like to extend our thanks to the faculty members who have supported this session. A special mention goes to Professor Biju Balakrishnan sir for his constant support and encouragement. Thank you to everyone who participated today. Your enthusiasm and engagement made this panel discussion a great success.
We hope to leave you this session with a fresh perspective on the future of technology. Wishing you all a fantastic day ahead. Thank you for being with us. This is Drishti signing off.
This is Krishna
Thank you.
signing off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you, sir.